Hello, I'm AnxiousCynic and welcome to the Walkerman. Did I get that right? Walkerman Prologue, the thing in the Weald or something. This is an indie game that I decided to give a try. It's supposedly kind of like a visual novel slash adventure game kind of thing. It's something different than anything I've ever tried, but it looked kind of intriguing, so I thought I would give it a try. So before we get started, I want to go ahead and give a little bit about the game. I'll maybe have some text up to show you when the gameplay, I'm not sure how this is going to actually work out, actually starts, but if you want to know more without having to read for yourself, then here we go. The story. Jorgen, a 19-year-old boy from the countryside, has just embarked upon a certain career in the city-state of Midgard. I'm assuming that's how you pronounce it. As a Walkerman, he will tour the streets and alleyways at night, combating the supernatural beings that emerge when the sun goes down. In order to survive Midgard's dire nights, Jorgen will need to think on his feet. His battles with the supernatural revolve around abstract problem solving and attention to detail. I am very good at all those things. Sarcasm. Not fancy swordplay. Alright? So no combat, just thinking. Oh god. But between Midgard's perilous politics and shady personalities, he'll soon discover that night isn't the only thing to be wary of. Alright. So there's that. If you stuck through it, then yay. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. It gives me this, like, it highlights continue as if I could do it, but I have not started the game at all, so we'll just hit start and see what happens. Okay, I guess there's no voice acting for this. The broad light of mid-afternoon drapes over the north, casting its rock-bound slopes in a brassy glow. Am I supposed to do anything, or is it just gonna... Is it just gonna, or what? Click you? Okay, I guess I have to click. Nestled in the shadow of those peaks, the Weald... Is that how you say it? Weald? I'm gonna say Weald. Yawns, stretching up foothills and lapping at cliff sides, its old growth untouched by axe or spade, and now and then bird songs warble from the trees. Is it a... What is it then? At the mouth of the bluffs, the trees squeeze between a pair of cliffs and spill out again. A small clearing stands here, with birches and hawthorns at its borders, and they join the draws, fingers, and cliff sides in ornament. Sounds. A twig snaps underfoot. Oh! A pair of swifts, startled by the noise, take off from the branches of a conifer. Am I saying that right? Their cries herald the arrival of a boy. A lot of reading in this. I guess that kind of is the nature of a visual novel. The one winding his way between the trunks. At the edge of the tree line, he pauses and he rests his arm on a birch. I don't know if you can see that if the webcam's in the way, but he's doing like this. Then there against a tree. A birch, apparently. He is thin but well muscled. A farm boy's build, and breaking brush has made his clothes damp and skin slick. He rakes a forearm across his brow, plastering a few loose strands of hair against his face and sighs. Getting kind of tripped up on these words here. Well, looks like I've gotten my dumb ass lost, I mutter. A light breeze sweeps across the glade, lifting a tousle of sweet matted hair from my forehead. The feeling is refreshing, but only lasts a moment. Even the temperature climate of the north feels like a furnace under this leather fabric. This is really testing my vocabulary. I pulled down on the chest piece's collar, releasing a fume of the swampy heat trapped inside. Gross. And get a pungent whiff of myself. Double gross. Prickly heat and blistering heels. My trek to Midgard has become just another sweaty chore on a long summer's day. Get it? Because he's a farm boy. The city-state isn't even half a day's hike from the cottage, but it's been years since I've made the trip. And now I'm lost, or so this unfamiliar sight assures me. Well, if it's been years, like if it's not familiar, then you know, forests and stuff, they change, man. Like it grows. But the sun is still on my left, so I must be headed in the right direction. Bereft of any better options, I pushed through the tall glass and into the clearing, headed south in the hope that I might yet strike the coast before sundown. I've probably just deviated a bit, I think. I do have a bit of letting my mind have a habit of letting my mind wander. Have a bit. Uh-oh. Alright, Jorgen, let's go over this one more time. Dad retakes his position about 20 paces upfield. What? Check your inventory. Oh, so that's what that is. Okay. Sword. Okay. A slip-me dagger with the blade snapped off just above the hilt. The blade portion is missing. Oh, I see. So it actually is. I thought it was like stuck down in something. And presumably lost on some foreign shore. Raiders used to carry these sidearms in case they tumbled to the ground with an opponent and needed to wrestle. Their thin design allows them to slip between the chinks of a hauberk or through the visor of a helm. The hilt is wrapped in goat leather and the pommel is a faint attempt at decoration with brass. The dagger itself is platinum like most raider weapons. A collection of 5 burnt bones, including a skull, hip, wing, and rib. What for? Why? It appears to be the remains of some species of bird. Which exact species? I'm not sure. The skull is too big for a chicken, but does not resemble a hawk. Why would you have this in your bag? That's gross. The bones are thoroughly burnt and bits occasionally flake off. My dad gave me this item, but was unclear on its history. He claimed to have inherited them from another poucher who died walking the night. Well, that's good. Some guy's walking around with some burnt bones for no reason, and then he died, so obviously it's a good idea to carry them yourself, I guess. A platinum coin, left over from Midgard's brief attempt at minting the metal. Platinum is sometimes called fool's silver, owing its overabundance in the north. Despite its lustrous appearance, it has no coinage value. It is usually used for metalworking. The front is a depiction of King Felix, Midgard's previous monarch. The reverse side bears an image of the Grand Temple. There was a time when Midgard's alleyways twinkled with these worthless discarded coins. Today, most of them have long since been melted down. This is a lot of writing, and plus, like, game programming. This is a lot of work, man. I mean, a lot of games have stuff like that, but still. What do I do? I already checked it. What do you want me to do? I clicked on everything. Alright, okay, I'm dumb. Got everything? Yes. Okay then, here I come, he announces. Throw an item out and see what it does. Throw the useless coins, I guess. I fished a platinum coin out of my pouches and toss it onto the grass. He plants a boot on it. So is this him? He's on the right. Then begins to shuffle toward me again, sliding the coin across the grass with his foot. So what do you think my rule about the coin is, he asks. You have to keep your foot on it? I have absolutely no clue what is going on right now. I'm gonna do that one. He stops with a frown. I'm trying to teach you how the rules work, Jorgen. I'm one of them, right? And so I've got rules to follow, remember? Huh? That lost me. The coin triggered one of my rules. What do you think I have? Not too sure, I shrug. Alright, I'll just tell you. I had to keep a foot on it. That's my rule. But that alone ain't gonna stop me, is it? You can't just trigger one rule and expect to trap it. What is it talking about? I'm completely lost at this point. Like the smith who grasps his metal with tongs and pins it between the hammer and anvil, it takes us a few tools. So go ahead and toss another item out. The bones! I toss out one of the bones next, aiming for his feet. As he passes by the bone, he circles around it. Then awkwardly begins shuffling backward a few steps before tripping over a rock. Ha ha! Shee! He laughs. Well, you get the point, right? He hoists himself onto his feet with a grunt. Don't bother with the third item, I'll just tell you what I was gonna do. I'd be facing the bone and trying to shuffle backwards with one foot on the coin and the other on the dagger. Sorry about that. And I'd be having a hell of a time getting over here. But you do see the point I'm trying to make, right? You want to trigger as many rules as possible. And in some way that'll trap the thing that you can kill it. So that you can kill it. Don't take swing at it until then. Mother of mercy, no. Not till it's so wrapped up in rules that it can't even blow a fart at you. It never hurts to be too cautious, so don't start rushing things once you think you've got the upper hand. A lot of new guys bite it like that. Terrible shame. His eyes trend upwards, and for a moment I think I'm about to lose him to another one of his spells. His spells. Okay, I think should be there, unless that was intentional. But he recollects himself, shaking off the memories like a wet dog, and continues. And to manipulate rules, you're gonna need items. But not just any item. So don't go stuffing your pouches with some random crap that you find on the ground. You want items with a lot of properties. Each item consists of properties, and those are what trigger the rules. The bone, for example, it has a couple of properties. It's a bone. When it's burned, it's from some kind of bird, and, well, we don't have a clue what kind of bird it's from either. That's a property, too. They can get kind of abstract. They can get real abstract. Hell, I remember one time I had to say shave and a haircut for a whole night. Which was annoying. I thought my tongue was going to fall off by morning, but it's still far from the worst thing I've had to do to trigger a rule. There's a helicopter flying overhead. I don't know if it's coming over. So keep an eye out for items, good ones with a lot of properties, a little backstory to them. I know we traded most of mine away over the years, he sighs. But trust me, a little creativity goes a long way. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah, the bone. One of my rules was that I'd have to keep facing towards burnt objects like those bones. And if you had some other burnt item, like a used torch, for example, it'd work just as well. Do you get what I'm saying? So, I guess, if you're fighting the things, maybe you have to, toss down these things in order to get them in a position of vulnerability so that you can attack them. Yeah, I think I get it. So when I'm looking for items, I'll want the ones that have a lot of unique properties. You got it. Try to get ones with some history to them, maximize your chance of triggering something. Now the coin and dagger would both trigger the same reaction from me. I'd have to keep a foot planted on each of them. So that means I share some kind of property, right? What property do the coin and dagger share that you think triggered my rule? You can check your inventory again if you want. They're both useless. I think it would be because they're both made out of platinum. Right! My rule was that I needed to keep a foot planted on anything made of platinum. So, quick recap here. I needed to keep facing anything burnt, and keep a foot on anything made of platinum. And that was enough to hamstring me, but I wouldn't have a go at one if it was still shuffling around like that. He exhales slowly, flapping his lips like a horse. Hopefully that at least gives you the general idea. But having the general idea is one thing. The execution. Now that'll kill you. He laughs, I groan. At least it's only a few more days until I can get away from his sense of humor. Anyways, the whitefish should be done soaking by now. Probably should salt them and let sit for a while longer, though. I'll get the fire started. Why don't you grab that stuff off the grass and go set the table? Why do they always do that? Why do teachers do that? They make you make a mess and then they make you clean it up. Just so they can show you something. So unfair. It was just a game to me then, I think, and the pouch is a mere costume. The pouches. My dad granted them to me when I announced my intentions, joining the ranks of those men who walk the streets after dusk. Walkerman. Sometimes called pouchers, they aren't the stuff of legends or even the stuff of polite conversation. But people will pay good coin for someone who knows how to handle the night, even if they don't enjoy seeing him during the day, because there's something else out there when the sun goes down. Ooh, it's creepy. Something terrible. Beyond name, beyond mention, their very existence is veiled by metaphor and followed swiftly by nervous token gestures. This strict etiquette coddles man's fragile mind. He can retreat indoors at dusk and pretend that there's nothing out there. But he knows why he fears the night. One morning, someone will be gone, except for a pile of their clothes. That's all that's left when they're taken. And that's the only time anyone will go looking for a Walkerman. I like how the music stopped there for the creepy bit. That was a nice little touch. But nobody wants a poucher around for any longer than it takes him to get the job done. The profession is an eyesore and a constant reminder of things better left ignored. They make good coin, but not good enough for what they do, and wicked rumors surround their trade. What rumors? Why do this? What is the walking trade? I already know these things. Let's see what rumors. Rumors of the secrets tucked into the spaces between spaces, knowledge beyond the veil of reason, though there are those that try to understand, to catalog and quantify the weird, try to find some benefit in it, some control, as if a fish could go to fisherman's hook. And when we find those people, we burn them. But given this trade's proximity to the weird, it's understandable that pouchers might be suspected of some ulterior practices. Because study leads to understanding, and understanding leads to temptation. But I don't believe any of it, of course. I had to burp, I believe that. People are just looking for a scapegoat. And Walkermen find themselves at blame for everything from sick children to bad harvests. Oh, that would suck. Why do it? We're getting kind of low on time here. I'm not sure how much we can keep going. I don't know. Maybe my hermititude in the cottage has driven me to lunacy. Over the years, I found myself entertaining the notion of becoming a Walkerman. Only slightly at first, I toyed with the idea. Then it began to nag, as if I were being pulled, and I could scarcely go a day without feeling another, stronger tug. I tried not to lose myself in childish fantasy, but at night I would often lie awake in bed and mimic sword noises with my mouth as I imagined myself fighting them. Eventually, putting reason aside, I capitulated to the idea. Alright, let's just move on. I'm sure if you would play this for yourself, there's a lot more story to read, but we gotta get this moving. A tangle of pine boughs bars my way. Is that the right way to say it? And I'm forced to twist and turn to slide under the branches. But one catches me from behind, and with a shudder I feel it send a branch full of needles down the back of my neck. Ew. Son of a... I pause and rake a few of them out of my collar while the rest pin themselves in the small of my back. And as I struggle to swipe a hand under my hauberk, I'm made aware of how exhausted I am, and how lost. I should have struck the coast by noon. Oh my god, I'm getting tired of reading now because I'm felling. But the sun is already dipping towards the horizon, and I've long grown tired of pulling tacks out of my shins, deer tacks, and untangling myself from the catch of vines. I bend forward, hiking my ruck higher onto my back and tightening the straps down. The weight feels more comfortable there, but the metal frame still presses awkwardly against my leathers. Briefly, I consider turning back, but soon put the thought out of my mind. I doubt I could even find the cottage by now. He's past the point of no return. It's over. He's done. I exhale sharply, bending forward again and bracing my hands against my knees. Fresh rivulets run down my brow and into my eyes, stinging, and I blink them away. Oh, that sucks when that happens. Ugh. Succumbing to temptation, I drop to the ground and lean against the trunk, resting my head on the rough canvas of my pack. Above me, a break in the canopy provides a window to a lulling sight. Visions of white roll by, and I let my arms go limp against the forest floor. Just a quick breather, I tell myself. Folding my palms beneath my head, I slide a little further into the dirt and detritus, and muse about what errors might have led me astray. This is a trip I've made several times before, after all. Dad wouldn't dare be seen by someone in Midgard, so I'd always make the jaunt alone when it came time to get supplies. He still had friends in the city-state back then, though there seemed to be fewer around each time I visited. once we became comfortable living off the homestead. However, my trips to Midgard became few and far between. Hunting, fishing, and gardening passed the time away and put food on the table. The old man seemed content, but I think we both knew I couldn't stay out there forever. We didn't talk much after we left Midgard, mostly a lot of do this or make sure of that, but after we fell into a routine, there wasn't much to discuss anyways. It all melded together. 8 years, and I feel like I can't remember a single day of it. When I told him that I wanted to walk the night, only then did the spell seem to break. Regardless, our last conversation wasn't as melodramatic as one might expect. We sat down for breakfast this morning, and he simply said, "Well, Jorgen, today's the day." He tilted his chair back and seemed lost in nostalgia for a moment, probably reminiscing about his days as a walkerman. I'd always felt he wasn't fond of his walking days. He never liked to talk much about them, and Crone knows he didn't appreciate it when one of them paid a visit to our cottage either. I need some water. And I might hazard that they've been the source of the nervous tics he's been accumulating over the years. There was a dull thud as Dad came rocking forward in his chair, ready to loose another volley of caveats. That arming sword might be old, but it's no liability. Rewrap the hilt every now and then. The old man droned on, and I slipped in and out of attentiveness. Sometimes his enthusiasm seemed almost like a relief, though I can't imagine the reason he would want to see me go. Haburk, and the load-bearing belt too, precisely because, remember to trust, but I couldn't shake the notion that there was something off about his reaction. Why did he never ask me my reasons for wanting to go? I had excuses loaded up like a spring trap just waiting for him to inquire, but he never did. He snapped his fingers in, directing my attention back towards himself. "Oh, do me a favor though, Jorgen," he requested, his voice carrying a tone of fatherly concern. "Yeah?" "Don't get involved with those boys that Gregor's with. He wasn't that bad of a kid, but that's no kind of company for an honest man to keep." I hadn't really given much thought up to that point as to what my cousin did in the city-state. Be polite, seeing as how you were gonna be staying with him and all, but don't go shaking hands with the Harper boys. The name rang a bell, some dockside gang that Gregor got involved with a few years back. "And that's another thing," he continued, "don't get involved with any kind of politics, none whatsoever. That's not your place, you understand? You just walk the night and don't go meddling in other people's business." So he's like more afraid of him getting involved in politics than walking the night with evil supernatural creatures that steal people's bodies and leave their clothes on the ground. That sounds pretty reasonable. Gesturing with his left hand, he warned, "There's some people out there." My eyes drew to the scar running down along the length of his palm. Catching my gaze, he retrieved his hand and placed it under the table. "Well, let's just say the night isn't the only thing you should be wary of." "Oh, that's what the description said." We sat in silence for a while, and though it was still hidden beneath the table, I could tell he was rubbing that scar on his palm. The wound hadn't healed right and refused to fade over the years, and I think it served him as a constant reminder of our departure from the city-state and its abrupt decline. Until recently, Midgard had been the terror of the North. For generations, its ambitious noble kind gathered up their families, serf kind, and led them to foreign shores in annual raids. Every winter, the city-state was a hive of activity, with raiding crafts smothering the harbor and vulture merchants jockeying for looted goods. My brain's slowing down, sorry. Midgard's welfare depended on the practice. That all ended about 11 years ago. "We're running out of time, man. I gotta wrap this up. I don't know where to stop." Midgard's raiders were adept at hit and runs. Chasing them around the coastlines was a useless venture, or something. But they weren't as competent in a stand-up naval battle. That fateful winter, the newly unified Gotland Confederacy had prepared a gambit that would end the raids once and for all. Once, one province of Gotland acted as the bait, refusing to pay tribute and drawing the bulk of the winter raids towards its shores. Now we're getting into juicy stuff. A great host of galleys caught the raiders in a trap there, destroyed most of their craft, and put an end to Midgard's golden age. That sounded simple enough. Fortunately, the petty kings of Gotland are fickle men, and were unable to mount a siege on the city-state. Each of them had the idea to raid his rival during the gambit, and the campaign quickly disbanded as they returned home to defend their holdings. Oh, even my chair laughed at that one. Did you hear it squeaking? In the wake of that disaster, the vulture merchants abandoned Midgard to ply their trades elsewhere, and the city-state sank into a deep depression. There wasn't enough food to go around, and the streets were plagued by violence. Small-time gangs soon flourished into full-fledged crime syndicates, and the noble kind were... Is that noble kind or noble kin? Because I've just heard... Anyway, we're barely holding on to the reins. By the time we had to leave, it looked like the city-state was about to come apart at the seams. Okay. Doesn't seem like there's going to be really a good point to leave off with this, but we've gone on far too long. It's actually really interesting and really intriguing. It's kind of, it is a visual novel, so it's kind of slow. There's not much of a gameplay element. But the story has me intrigued. I like how it's actually really fleshed out, and there's even more than what we experienced in this video today. But as always, I will have a link in the description if you want to check the game out for yourself. I think it's pretty interesting. I might try to come back to it. I'm not really sure. I don't know if there's like a save system or whatever, if we could come back to this exact point. We'll see how it goes. In any case, like I said, if you want to check it out for yourself, link will be down there. And I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed this little foray into the Walkerman. And if you did, then feel free to hit that like button. Comment and subscribe to become a citizen today, if you wanna. And I hope I'll see you in the next video.